Welcome. Yay. I'm so glad you're here. If you're watching the replay or live, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just so grateful you're here. I've been really missing sharing these live sessions. I was doing so many with the different 30-day events and in groups, and now I have some ideas that I wanted to share with you and some things that have been coming up that I've been hearing about and wanting to support you in. And that is around raising the bar for love. So, what is that for you? I mean, in relationship, I know that I can look back on my experience and see how many years, decades that I spent in this space of kind of falling into relationships and then trying to make them work and just being in the habit of putting myself last. So I'm wondering if you can relate to this. I'm guessing, as women, this is not an uncommon feeling where we're used to taking care of people, reaching out, being the one who is that caretaker and offering, our kindness and space to others before we take care of ourselves. And that is part of why this conversation around raising the bar is pretty fun, because what I notice the most is that so much of this is a programming that we've been carrying around for a long time, and even from lifetimes. So if you're joining the live, say hello in the comments. I'd love to say hello to you. And so I wanted to talk about how we can play with raising our bar. And this is not only in what we are receiving, but how we relate to ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, and the choices that we make. Because if we are functioning from the space that is a low bar space, hey Mandy, or we're kind of contracted in fear or not feeling good enough, then the bar is automatically low. So it takes making some choices and beginning to open up to new points of view, asking more questions that inspire us to say, you know what? I would like to ask for more, and being aware of the things that keep us from asking those or asking for more. So, co-creating with the universe is actually always occurring. And as we're making choices for ourselves or not choosing things that really align with what we really want, maybe it's in work or um, with our families or even with our friends, where maybe we're doing habits of people pleasing and denying our truth, then what we're co-creating with the universe is kind of a low bar space, essentially, because it's more matching what we think we should be doing or what we've decided equates to our value. So when we can start challenging this, and once we start being aware of the things that we typically do and choose, and even looking at our lives and saying, okay, well, is this the life that I truly desire? Like, what's missing here? What would I love more? Because as soon as you start noticing that, what's missing, what would I love more? What is in my heart that I, have not actualized in my life? That's when we can start getting really into a different space for asking for something more. And, sometimes I was making a couple notes before this, but, how much of our life is just repeating what we've seen before, or repeating what we think we can have, and even repeating the traumas and dramas and scarcity over and over again, because we're just we continue to just affirm that. And so the biggest challenge about raising the bar is that the person who is standing in front of that higher bar is not the person that's here right now. So the person that is choosing a higher bar is a different you. It's a you that's making different choices. It's a you that is kind of making aware of the past as the past. And it's a person who is getting a little uncomfortable. I know for me, in my experience of relationship and raising the bar, it was a different way of being. And so much different. It was stopping the patterns of my mind that continue to kind of follow those old like dating rules and strategies that said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't look like you're interested, you can't, you need to be this way that's going to make a man want you, and all of these kinds of things that actually, just kept me in a cycle of stuff that was completely nowhere near who I was and who I truly wanted to be in my love life. So, what is there for you? Like, if you know that there's something greater, if you can sense that in your heart, and if you are aware that the kinds of relationships that you've created up until now are not the caliber of the relationship you would like to step into, or you sense this is the life you want to live. And some of these things may be coming up in your world where you're like, oh wow, I would like someone who's successful and makes money. And yet maybe there's a part of you that's been beating that down all along. How many of you have said, I really want someone who's successful, and yet, but I shouldn't say rich, or I shouldn't want someone who has money because that would make me a bad person, or that would make me look like I'm greedy, or just looking for a sugar daddy. Like, whatever the thing is that comes up, be aware of that, because those are the lies that then keep you in the low bar space. What is it that you would truly like, that if you weren't allowing the judgments to come in, would be that next level relationship? And what are the things that are in that next level higher bar relationship that you have been scared to ask for because you thought, oh, well, that's too much, or that's wrong, or what if I can't get it? So I may as well not ask for it. That's the space that really holds the bar low. So if you're interested in changing this, it's going to be stepping into a different you. And it's not not being authentic. So I'm aware that some people say, well, I need to be me. And yes, you get to be you, and you get to be the greatest possible you. It's only the things that come in that start, breaking things down. I mean, I dare to say there's probably a lot of you right now that's being denied, that's not feeling honored or seen or heard. And even the most successful women that I work with that have been, celebrity status or fashion designers or executives that have these personas in certain places that are this vision of success, that even then there are these things that can show up in relationship that still make that space tricky until you start making different choices for you and honoring you and actually taking a stand for your love life in a different way. And it is uncomfortable. I will say, like, when you are stepping into new spaces and places, it can be really uncomfortable, and it can be really exciting, and it can be really fun, because there's this idea that it could be really hard or painful, or, oh my God, am I going to lose myself? And what I want to begin to start sharing with you are all of the different, tips, tools, strategies, transformations that can lead you to more of you. Because the you within you is not you with all of these layers of judgments, all of these layers of fears, all of the stuff that reflects in relationship as a low bar relationship, or a settling relationship, or the kind of relationship where you don't really feel fulfilled and you're not able to, like, co-create together. I'm inviting you to the space where you can not only create with yourself in different ways, because you're saying, wow, that is what I truly want. And you hear yourself and you honor yourself, that then that expands into the space of being able to be surprised by what you can create with the universe, and what, places or spaces actually may be dark or hidden because at some point you made them wrong or bad. And we get to, like, step into the entirety of you that has so much space of receiving that is not available when you're contracted in this fear or not feeling good enough. And if you weren't part of the 30 days that I just completed, which was really, it was all about getting out of that protection mode and moving into connection, that's something that you can still access and get if you would like. It was a really amazing series, all on developing that secure attachment, developing that relationship with you that is choosing for love and not fear. So this takes it even further. So if you'd like to play in this new space, I'm doing more, it's a 22-day experience, but I also have a masterclass coming up. So the first thing that's happening is the masterclass, which is a one session experience that's a webinar form where I'm going to be sharing with you the secrets of getting to those places where it's hidden and where you are not actually stretching into the full ask. A lot of times I meet people and they're saying, oh yeah, I want this relationship, and then we start asking questions and we find this all of the things that are kind of holding it back and making it kind of a mediocre relationship when it actually could be an extraordinary relationship. And only then are you going to have an extraordinary relationship. If you're starting from mediocre, you can only get mediocre or less. So this is creating a greater vision that you can have way more of what you would love in your love life. So join me in the masterclass, webinar style, or you can jump into the 22-day adventure that's going to include a couple different things than I typically do, but mostly it's a daily session where we go live in a Facebook group. I give you these incremental shifts, tools, practices that in the end become over 10 hours of teaching and coaching. And then you'll also get a special Raise the Bar activation audio that I'm creating. And then you're also going to get the Sunday intuitive readings with the Dead Old Ladies. And that's always really fun because that's a place where you can interact, bring your questions, get answers. So all you need to do is go check it out at getsuperlove.com/next up, and you can see if you have questions, reach out to me. Love to have you come play if that feels fun for you, so that you can really expand into more of what is available. And as part of it, because it can be uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to stretch into these new spaces, especially since the you that is here right now is not the same you that is able to really receive that galore. I love the word galore because it's like, oh, galore, it's even more. So that's going to be part of the transformational piece, that you get to stretch into that. So thank you so much for being here. Let me know what came up for you. I'd love to hear more about what this is stirring up and how I can support you. And we'll see you really soon. Bye, everyone.